ugly mug. Look at that. That was me earlier today. I had my two front teeth knocked out playing a game of baseball with a tennis racket and a tennis ball in the backyard with my brother and some of the neighborhood kids. So I had to go to the dentist, and I got there and I saw that their magazine rack was permanently empty. I found this article from all the way back in 2012. They're talking about, are these magazines a health risk? Do you have to throw them away constantly? And I guess people now look at their phones all the time. It was in 2020 that they wiped them out, and just my dentist didn't bring them back. I bet a lot of people aren't either, because the magazines aren't really needed. Print is going away, but it robs us of this waiting room time with Highlights magazine. Highlights magazine was made by Gary Cleveland Myers and his wife Carolyn Clark Myers in 1946, and it's still going today. They called it Fun with a Purpose. We're going to take a look at them in just a bit, but first I wanted to show you Goofus and Gallant, or Goofus and Gallant, and I never knew which one it was, but this is where you have two characters and you'll see what they do. So this one, mom is confronting Goofus, and she's angry. She's like, "Where were you?" And he says, "I was at Joey's house. Why are you so angry?" That's Goofus. But Gallant says, "I'll leave a note so my mom will know where I am." They still have Goofus and Gallant, and here's like a brand new one. It says, "There's some of Goofus and Gallant, or Gallant, I just don't know, in all of us, and when the Gallant shines through, that's when you're your best self." So here's Goofus, and he's like, "Oh no, where did I put Grandpa's watch?" Isn't that in Pulp Fiction? "It's on the kangaroo, Goofus." And then Gallant is like, "This was my great uncle's. To keep it safe, I will leave it here." "That's a silly idea. Here's what you should do," says Goofus. He's giving some help. And then over here we've got Gallant is, "Would you like my opinion? Do I have permission to mansplain?" So that's still around. There's this, Ask Arizona. You see that young lady there? She's Arizona. This is like Dear Abby for Highlights magazine, and they ask her questions. This is since 2009, so this was not in there when I was younger. All right, the question from Anxious in Alameda says, "Every time I have to do something for the first time, I get so scared that I want to run and hide. What should I do?" Well, Anxious in Alameda, I got a solution for you. So every time you run and hide, right, this time you're going to give up running and hiding, right? And so it's going to be your first time ever not running and hiding. And so you can't run and hide from not running and hiding. Bing, bang, boom, spell broken. These were always fun. Scan the crowd for photographers and see if you can match these photos right up here with the people taking them. So you're looking at like this guy taking a picture of the field, which might be that one. This guy taking a picture of the cheerleader is right here. That's me over here. I'm saying, "Hey, man, at the Buckeyes game, welcome. I'm going to show you all the details of this stadium you don't care about." All right, here we go. Here's Gary and his wife. Boy, they look like fun. Don't they look like a couple that would demand that it had to be fun with a purpose for their magazine? They were like, "Can we make it fun?" And Gary was like, "With a purpose." And she was like, just silently nodded. The Timber Toes, this is still in the magazine. This actually started before the magazine. And the Timber Toes, they've got Halloween coming. Here's a look at what they look like. They're like wooden characters. And so they get their pumpkins. Dad helps them carve them. They put a flashlight in it. But then Spot wants a pumpkin, and so they carve one up that looks just like Spot. The other one you would see there was Ranger Rick's. That's been around since 1967. It was brought to you by the NWF. That sounds like that should be a wrestling promotion until they get sued by the National Wildlife Federation and have to make it NWE, which isn't nearly as much fun to say. This magazine's still around, though. 10 issues a year. They teach you all about different animals. You got your horses with stripes, and you've got the fat unicorn, and you can learn all about all these different animals. Like, look at that giraffe. Look at how he drinks from that water. That's funny. I always liked flipping through a People magazine, but the problem with People magazine was you're in that waiting room, you're reading this great article about John Travolta's piloting license or whatever, and then all of a sudden they call you in. and you got to put that magazine down. You needed shorter articles. So what came out? Entertainment Weekly. I thought Entertainment Weekly was so entertaining when I would go to the doctor's office that I got a subscription. And then they started showing up at my house, and I looked at them and I was like, oh, these are only interesting if you're in a waiting room and don't know how long you have. When you're at home, you're like, why aren't these more than a paragraph? And here they have Avril just squeezing up her nose. This was a thing they did a lot. They made women do weird poses on the cover of Entertainment Weekly, like, look at my shoulder. And look at my belly button. Oh, I didn't even know you were going to take pictures today. And then this one where she's like, look, I'm just trying to tie my shoe, dude. What's your problem? Reader's Digest. This was the antithesis of Entertainment Weekly. This is an issue from 1978. This is the cover, by the way. It also serves as a table of contents. Not the most engaging or exciting cover, but it was all full of these rather long articles, sections from books, short stories. It was the best. And it was basically, they compiled stuff from all different sources. It was like the early internet in paperback. Here, this one from 1978, you have You Can Fight City Hall by Stuart Seagal. Stuart Seagal fights City Hall on deadly ground 2. What Children Do and Don't Owe Their Parents. There's a miracle chip in your future from Time Magazine. Like, look at all the different sources here. It's great. Kiwanis Magazine. So this is the 1970s. Let's jump ahead 10 years to the late 80s. Here we have When Asteroids Shake the Earth. We've got a boy, a snake, and an angel, and The Dangers in Your Garage. Jumping ahead to 1998, and now they've kind of thinned out the amount of things on the cover. We've got a nice picture here. 15 Ways to Beat a Cold, and also The Most Powerful Lobby. I wonder if they've got good magazines. I want to go sit in that lobby. I could go wait there. Here's the newer one. This is 2008, and they've got the smartphone on there. They've got the Reader's Digest killer right there on the cover, and also Tom Hanks, The Secret Deal That Changed History. McCall's Magazine. Now, this was around from the 1800s all the way until 2002. Sometimes I would get stuck reading a McCall's because I got a lot of brothers and sisters. And so sometimes I would go into the waiting room and they'd all grab the highlights. They'd grab the Ranger Rick. They might grab the People Magazine. And I was stuck with flipping through McCall's. But sometimes you'd find like a good article in there. By the way, if you enjoy these videos, make sure and be like the Fonz. He was on the cover of all these magazines. He was always out there giving it a thumbs up. And so that's what I need you to do. Be like the Fonz, give it a thumbs up, and then go, hey, and tell YouTube to sit on it. Here's Better Homes and Gardens. I was recently in Iowa, and I got to go to the Better Homes and Gardens garden. Whenever there's new seeds for new plants, they get them, they grow them here to figure out what they're going to look like. They also take photos for their magazine here, and the magazine headquarters is attached to it. So we're going to walk around, take a look at this. You can see it's a real beautiful garden. They open it up for 2 hours. People can bring their lunch there if they want, sit there and eat their lunch. People can stroll around and take a look at all the different flowers. Here's a sign that says, welcome public visitors 12 to 2, May to September on Fridays. So here it is. This is the Better Homes and Gardens Publishing Company building. It's right around the corner. It wasn't right next to the garden, but very close to it. It says at the top, successful farming, the dairy farmer, and Better Homes and Gardens. Right across from them, they got a little park with a giant shovel. Here's a cover with Michelle Obama, and we actually matched up a photo of her at her university this year on Princeton University's campus. Here's a picture of her, and she would have been standing right here. Stand next to that tree. There, you're standing where the First Lady stood. Although it's a different tree. Unless the tree got smaller over the years. All right, here we got the top 5 magazines to keep in your waiting or your exam rooms. So number 1, Time Magazine. We didn't talk about Time Magazine much, but that's a classic. Everybody knows that one. Highlights for Children. We did talk about that. Afar. I don't know what Afar is. So I looked it up. It was founded in 2009. It's a travel magazine. Number 4, Entertainment Weekly. We talked about that. And number 5, Sports Illustrated. That's a good one. They'd have a special issue that would have, with the skimpy, with the, and the tan and the oil. Well, you know what I'm talking about. That's going to bring this one to a close. Hope you enjoyed this. A trip down memory lane, reminiscing about the waiting room. Right now, there's going to be a box here and here. I'm putting that full trip to Iowa up on this side. YouTube's going to recommend what they think is best for you over here. I won't be offended if you choose this one, but hey, I'd love it if you choose this one. And I will see you back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock for a brand new adventure.